Hello there. Today I will be ranking all of our players from who I think is most likely to win, to least likely, in a tier list. This will be based on how their game is looking going into next week, their potential long-term prospects, and how I think the edit is factoring into their chances to win or go far. This ranking is my own personal opinion, and will probably change massively from week to week, but these are my thoughts after episode 5. I also want to point out that tiers are not ordered in any particular way. The person voted out last week, and our last boot of the pre-merge is Daniel. Daniel played a mostly chaotic game this season, and he was on the back foot after the tribal council where Jenny went home. Ultimately, it seems like he lost trust with the tribe by throwing Chanelle under the bus and exposing Mike's idol to the tribe, which seems to have been the cause of him getting voted out. I enjoyed Daniel this season, so it is sad to see him go. D tier this week is for players who I see have very little chance of winning, and will likely leave the very game soon. First in the D tier is Rocksroy, who remains in the D tier from last week. Once again, Rocksroy is lowest on the tier list again, as unfortunately, he is on the bottom of the Ika tribe. His ally Swati ended up going home, leaving him without information on the vote, which shows us that his tribe has very little faith in him going forward. On top of this, it seems like Tori is willing to flip on the Ika tribe, which puts Rocksroy in an even worse position going into the merge. His one saving grace is that he seems to be relatively self-aware of his position, so we will see if he can get it together in future episodes. C tier this week is for players who I either see little chance of winning the game, or could leave soon. First in the C tier this week is Maryanne, who remains in the C tier from last week. Maryanne is a player who has gotten on the nerves of her tribe recently, which could lead her position in the game to be worse as a result. Jonathan, Omar and Lindsay are all closer to each other than to Maryanne, which means they could throw her under the bus at the merge if they have to. Maryanne does have the idol, which is obviously great for her game, but unfortunately everyone else knows about it. Maryanne needs to utilize her idol well at the merge, or she could be in trouble soon. Next in the C tier this week is Tori, who remains in the C tier from last week. Tori is someone who does not have a lot of trust with the rest of her tribe, so I am worried that the rest of Ika tribe might try to target Tori at the merge. However, we do know that Tori is willing to flip on the rest of the Ika tribe, so if she can be proactive at the merge, I can see her being safe if she can find the right allies to work with. It is unknown currently whether Tori knows about where the idols are in the game, as she does not know about the phrases, so she could be at a disadvantage if she can't find that out. I think Tori is a good enough player that she could find herself in a great spot at the merge, but her place in the game is precarious. First in the C tier this week is Chanelle, who drops from the B tier from last week. While Chanelle was able to stay over Daniel this week, she is still on the outs with the rest of her tribe. We have seen Vati saying that they don't trust Chanelle moving forward, which means that she could be abandoned by her tribe as we move into the next phase in the game. If she can gain the trust of her tribe, or find herself with the right allies, I could see her being fine for a while, but time will tell with Chanelle. The tier this week is for players who I think have a good chance to win, but have some flaws in their game that are holding them back, or are just overall middling. First in the B tier this week is Lindsay, who remains in the B tier from last week. Lindsay is someone who fits being middling to a T. She isn't the worst position on her tribe going into the merge, but she also isn't in the greatest position either. We don't know a lot about Lindsay's game, but she does have the amulet advantage that she gained in the premiere, along with the knowledge of who else has it in the game. If she could use that to her advantage, I could see Lindsay doing well in the merge, but she could be a target as a result. Overall, Lindsay is a player we will have to wait and see with. Next in the B tier this week is Lydia, who remains in the B tier from last week. Lindsay has turned her game around enough to be in a solid spot on the Vati tribe going into the merge. She seems to have a tight alliance with Hai, while also having a solid alliance with Mike, who both hold advantages that could help to keep her safe in coming votes. I think Lydia will be more under the radar, so I could see her not being targeted quickly at the merge, at least for a few votes. Next in the B tier this week is Romeo, who drops from the A tier from last week. Romeo is in a good position in his tribe going into the merge with his alliance partner Drea, but the main reason for his drop this week is Tori's willingness to flip on her old tribe mates. This puts all of the former Ekas at risk of being an immediate target at the merge. Romeo does know about Drea's advantages, while also knowing about who has the idols this season, so he could be able to utilize that knowledge to his advantage. I think Romeo has a lot of potential, so time will tell where he ends up in the game. Last in the B tier this week is Jonathan, who drops from the A tier from last week. Previously, I have ranked Jonathan high because of his physical strength, as he would be very unlikely to leave pre-merge. However, this strength is very problematic for him as it puts a huge target on his back going into the merge. We have already seen other tribes comment on Jonathan being like Thor in the game, so other players are aware of his threat level in challenges. Jonathan has shown that he can be a smart player, but he will have to play very well if he wants to remain in the game going forward. A tier this week is for players who aren't looking like they will go home soon, and have solid chances to win the game. First in the A tier this week is Hai, who remains in the A tier from last week. As expected, Hai took control of the vote this week, taking advantage of the fallout between Chanelle and Daniel following Vati's previous tribal council. He is in a great position moving forward into the marge as everyone on his tribe seems to trust him, and nobody on Vati seems like they are willing to flip. Hai knows where all of the idols are on the season, while also having the amulet advantage that could become more powerful over time. If Hai can use his knowledge and his advantages well, I can see him having a great chance to win the game. Next in the A tier is Drea, who drops from the S tier from last week. Drea is in a great position going into the merge, as she is no longer a target on the Eka tribe, while also having a solid relationship with everyone else on her tribe as well. Drea has an immunity idol, her amulet advantage, and an extra vote that she can use, giving her potentially great leverage to gain allies. The main reason for Drea's drop is that Tori is willing to flip on the Eka tribe, which is worrying for Drea, but ultimately if she can play her tools right, she has a great chance to win the game. S tier this week is for players who are in great positions, aren't likely to leave anytime soon, and also have a great chance to win in my opinion. First in the S tier this week is Omar, who remains in the S tier from last week. Omar once again had a quiet episode, following up a quiet string of episodes for him, but that does not mean that he is in a worse spot in the game. He is on top of the Taku tribe alongside Jonathan, but while Jonathan has the threat level in physical challenges, Omar can safely hide behind him. If Omar can utilize his good position and great physical shield, I think he has a high chance to win the game. Next in the S tier this week is Mike, who remains in the S tier from last week. Mike is in a great position on the Vati moving forward into the merge, and has solid connections with his whole tribe to work with. Mike also was able to activate his idol, giving him a powerful tool to work with, but unfortunately most other players know about his idol as well. I think Mike can be a lower threat level than other players, which should allow him to get deeper into the game. If Mike can make it through the next few votes, I think he has a great chance to win the game. There is my current tier list of who I think is most likely to win and make it far. Keep in mind that these are just my opinions, and I am unspoiled this season, and this is very subject to change. We will see if anyone else will be able to rise to the S tier, and I am interested to see how the rest of the season will shake out. Thanks for watching.